Woo! I read something that you said, the world is in trouble.
I think I said the world is a mess.
So is the world in more of a mess today than it was when you were Prime Minister of Portugal?
Yes, I mean, we have a multiplication of new conflicts. When I was young, we lived in a bipolar world. No, you have the Cold War, on one side, the United States, on the other side, the Soviet Union. And when things might risk to be out of control, the two superpowers would normally find a way. Today, we live in a world that is no longer bipolar, and you no longer have wars between countries. You have situations in which in one country there are plenty of different actors. You have government troops, sometimes international troops, ethnic groups, religious groups, political groups, and those conflicts are becoming more and more interlinked. If you look, for instance, at Iraq, Syria, Libya, Yemen, Afghanistan, you have fighters that go from one place to another. So there is a link between all these conflicts and this new global threat of terrorism.
This global terrorism is best embodied by ISIS, who have largely been defeated in Syria and Iraq, but is gaining momentum in destabilized nations around the world, most notably the Sahel region of northern Africa.
What does that mean in the context of the mission in Mali, which is being called the most dangerous place in the world right now?
What you have in Mali is a situation in which you have terrorist groups operating, but the peacekeepers were sent to Mali because of a peace agreement with several of the movements that did not include terrorist groups that are operating there. And so in Mali, we have a peacekeeping force that has had more casualties than anywhere else.
And correct me if I'm wrong, UN forces, they can't fire their guns unless they're shot upon. But in Mali, they're actually getting into counterterrorism and fighting a war on terror.
That is the problem. Mali is exactly the example where the peacekeeping force by itself will not be able to solve the problem.
The operations in Mali could be the key to stopping terrorism as it spreads across Africa. And Secretary General Guterres gave one of our crews, led by correspondent Eris Rousinos, exclusive access to join UN peacekeepers on the ground on their most dangerous active operation.
We're about to head off with the Bangladeshi battalion based here in Gao, all the way up to Anafis, about 2 days' drive north across terrible roads and hostile territory.
সবাই অস্ত্র পজিশনটা একটু ভালোভাবে রাখেন কারণ ভিডিও হচ্ছে দেখতেছেন প্রত্যেকটা মুভমেন্ট
সবাই একটু সোজা রাখেন গাড়ি দেখেন 8 নাম্বার সালামত কালে মোর দুন দেও না বসে যাবে হেল্প করো না তাহলে আমরা হেল্প করে আসে লোক আমার সামনে খানা দেব খানা সব বলতে পারে
বামে গুর জলদি চল সবাই একটু সোজা শান্ত এটা করার উদ্দেশ্য হলো দেখছো
The UN sources peacekeepers from all around the world, offering $1,300 a month to recruits drawn mostly from countries like Ethiopia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh.
Tell us about the convoy and what we're doing.
We're going to Anafis basically, and it will be a hard time basically because the whole ground you will find in Sahara Desert. So the weather is rough, ground is rough, and you know the United States, you know what happened in 24th of September.
What happened on 24th
It
September?
was mainly ID, improvised explosive device explosion. So 3 of us died on that spot.
Since 2013, more than 100 peacekeepers have been killed. That IED was one of at least 7 other attacks in less than a year, along the same route our convoy was now planning to take.
Good luck.
Mali became a hotspot for instability after the collapse of the Libyan regime, flooding the region with weapons. Jihadist groups and multiple Malian rebel factions vying for power left Mali in disarray. Today, the UN mission here, called MINUSMA, is responsible for maintaining a tenuous peace agreement that only half of the warring factions actually support.
Five years into the international intervention in Mali, and the security situation is still so bad that the only way to bring vitally needed goods up to the north of the country is in convoys like this, escorted by heavily armed UN peacekeepers like these Bangladeshi troops. Some of the groups fighting here, Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, they've been fighting the best equipped, most powerful militaries in the world for nearly 2 decades now. Do you think the UN peacekeeping force is capable of taking on such a powerful enemy?
Basically, MINUSMA is the peacekeeping force. We are here to establish the peace, not combat terrorism.
This policy cedes the initiative to jihadist groups like Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State, ensuring that they will always determine when and where an attack occurs. This leaves the peacekeepers operating on the front lines in a precarious position when unplanned stops occur.
One of the civilian trucks we've been escorting has had a mechanical failure, so we stopped this village in the middle of the desert. The UN peacekeepers here, they're handing out supplies.
These supplies are part of the UN's Hearts and Minds strategy to win over villagers and limit the insurgents' influence.
Searching doctor.
And we'd like to share our all the happiness with you. And we'd love to come to you as a friend.
That's why we are trying to share our feelings, our cultures, and we are also trying to give them feelings that MINUSMA is supporting them so that we can win their hearts and get some information. Pray for us.